Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Shango. So you saw the thumbnail, you know what's about. It's about which one of the devices I chose between the MacBook Pro and the Mac Studio. And I'm really talking about the Max, not the Ultra. The Ultra would have been way too much power for what I need. So I'm not gonna go through a lot of stuff before I tell you what I chose. I chose the Mac Studio, but I have my reason why I chose the Mac Studio over the MacBook Pro. I already have a laptop, as you can see right here. It's the Intel version 2017 MacBook Pro. Now, this laptop kinda is getting old, but my needs right now is the reason why I chose the Mac Studio. I need ports. Ports are very important to me. I/O. How do you interface with your computer? The new 16-inch only has 3 Thunderbolt ports. The Mac Studio now, on the other hand, has 4 Thunderbolt ports, 2 USB-C ports, and 2 USB-A ports. In all, it has 8 ports. Well, if you count the SD card and HDMI port, you would call it 10 port. Also, if you count the Ethernet port, you can call it 11. I am doing streaming. I'll be connecting a lot of stuff to the computer. I am actually struggling with my laptop right now because I have 4 ports on my laptop. As you know, Apple went this route and removed every other port and leave you with only 4 ports on your laptop. That has been a problem for me because I have to connect my Stream Deck. I have to connect a couple of cameras if I want to do multi-camera stream. I just have to connect a lot of stuff using dongles. You're running a problem right there. So when I was making the decision whether to buy the MacBook Pro Max, I'm just gonna simplify the name because these names are crazy. The MacBook Pro Max or the Mac Studio Max. The Mac Studio Max for me has all the ports. Now, you could be saying, oh, so what about the display and the keyboard and all of that? I already have keyboard. And to me, as a designer, as a content creator, 120 Hz is not so important. So while you get 120 Hz on the MacBook Pro 16-inch, as the display, you get the keyboard, you get trackpad and all of them stuff. When I work out the pricing, that's a next issue for me because I have it right here, side by side. My Mac Studio, based on the configuration that I chose, which is 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU, 64 gigabytes of unified memory, and 2 terabyte storage, 3,199. So with the same configuration as my Mac Studio Max, the MacBook Pro 16-inch is actually 4,299. So I have configured both of them with the same specs. So the MacBook Pro would be just as powerful as the Mac Studio. But the ports, yo, you only get 3 ports. That is a major issue for me, especially with what I am trying to do. I am trying to do, as I said, multi-camera live stream. I know that a MacBook Pro is ultra portable. You can work in the airport, you can work all over. Portability is not such a big thing right now for me. And if I want portability, I already have a MacBook. When I was trying to make the decision, it's really a hard decision because I love the portability. That's the reason why I only have a laptop right now. But when I started to really look at it, what am I doing right now? What am I doing? I'm trying to do multi-camera setup live stream. I'm always running into problems with always have to plug in dongles for this, plug in dongles for that. And I realized that 3 Thunderbolt port is not enough for me with what I'm trying to do currently. And that's my main reason for choosing the Mac Studio over the MacBook Pro. There's some other little small things like if you start to look at it on a more technical level, you would realize that the MacBook Pro and the Mac Studio has the same chip in it. So you're actually losing a Thunderbolt port on your MacBook Pro because the controllers in the board is allowed to do 4 Thunderbolt ports, as you can see what they did with the Mac Studio. They are also allowed to put 2 USB-Cs and 2 USB-A. So that's a total of 8 ports. But with your MacBook Pro 16-inch or 14-inch, you only get 3 ports. I know that you can say, oh, but you can always buy like a Thunderbolt dock or something like that. That would be an additional cost. And I know that I would still have to buy a monitor. It is super impressive. I like the design and everything, but I'm definitely not buying the Studio Display. The Studio Display is kind of out of my range. I am looking at some LG monitors between 24-inch to 32-inch. I am definitely not telling you or you should choose to buy the Mac Studio over the MacBook Pro because, again, as I said, they are the same chip. They are doing the same thing, probably even the same power. I don't know if thermals matter when it comes to putting on load because the Mac Studio definitely has a better thermal capability because it has bigger fans. What I'm saying is that I chose the Mac Studio over the MacBook Pro because of the ports. That was one of the main reasons. Like when I really was doing my research and I'm looking at it and I'm like, plus it's cheaper. It's cheaper because if I spend $1,000 on monitor and other accessories, it gets me to the price of the MacBook Pro with the same specs. We're talking about $4,299 versus $3,199. So you have a clear $1,000 difference, and I get it. You're talking about a 120 Hz display, amazing colors. You're talking about keyboard and you're talking about trackpad, which your Mac Studio doesn't come with. But I'm saying this $1,000 that I have left, I can use that to buy a 32-inch monitor, and I can use that to buy a keyboard. I already have a keyboard. I have the MX Key Mini, and I also have the MX3 mouse. So I already have peripherals that I can connect to my Mac Studio. But that's my main reason for choosing the Mac Studio over the MacBook Pro. And it's the ports, bro. The I/O. The I/O is super important to me. So now I don't have to live the dongle life. I really don't have to live the dongle life. Right now, currently, I am living the dongle life. So if I want to plug in anything, I have to almost grab a dongle. Once I get that computer, the 2 USB-A, I can plug in USB-A cables, and the 4 Thunderbolts, I can use them for various reasons. And the 2 USB-C, which is USB 3 on the front, I can use them for various reasons. As a matter of fact, I am not planning to have the Mac Studio on my desk. Because of minimalism and cleanness and stuff like that, I am not planning to have it on my desk as a display. I am planning to find something that I can dock it in underneath my desk. So I'll be using the front I/O, kind of look a bit weird because I'm almost not using the front I/O even though it has front I/O. I'll be using the card reader coming to the front of my desk and probably plug it into one of the front I/O. So the front I/O is not so much important to me, because I will not be displaying the Mac Studio on my desk. But the ports, bro, the ports are so important to me. And that's the reason why I chose the Mac Studio over the MacBook Pro. Thanks for watching. I'm Shango. See you in the next one.